I have psychosis, possible schizophrenia, 98.9% chance of dissociative identity disorder, severe panic disorder, major depression disorder, and PTSD.
Right.
I'm on 7 different psychiatric medications for it all. You are bipolar. You have a cognitive learning disorder.
And you get some of that psychiatric stuff from me.
Yeah, I know. I get it straight from you.
It's just like your grandmother Kathy had nervous breakdowns. It runs in the family.
I don't get it from my father. The fact that I like to drink on a daily basis is what I get from my father.
And the thing is you're learning that you have an addictive personality. That's what you've learned.
I already know I do.
But you also have lived in a household with a mother that's bipolar. And now you live in a household with a mother that has chronic pain.
And is also bipolar. And is pregnant with a broken back.
Okay, I'm Heidi. I'm 41, soon to be 42. I'm a mother of 2 boys, pregnant with a third on the way, 4 months along with a girl. I am married to my husband, Maddie, who is not around. You won't see him around. And the person who's filming this is my brother. There, how's that work? Okay, cool.
Alright. My full given name is Cole Christopher Dillinger. 20 years old. I'll be 21. February 6th. I'm a musician. I'm a vocalist. I write songs. I write my own books. I study storms, a little bit of meteorology, and I'm kind of an amateur storm chaser. Storm chaser. But my one big passion is it's mostly music, not just art, and I hope to pursue that. So that's pretty much a summary of myself.
Say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Okay.
So, somebody or am I just...
My name is Jake Dillinger. I'm 19 years old. I just graduated high school. I'm a very chilled, relaxed person when I'm at home. I don't really go anywhere. I go for walks, clear my mind. I hang out with myself. What helps me calming down the most is listening to music. I'm usually just chilling in my room, just jamming to music. Just sit there. And I like being alone sometimes a lot. Just chill out when no one's home.
Basically, as a single parent, I raised those kids. I struggled tooth and nail to give them everything they had. We have been homeless. We have not had rent sometimes. We have had to go to food banks and things like that to get food and all kinds of stuff because as a single mother on disability, it is hard to raise 2 kids. But, it's difficult being a single mother on disability. And then, when you're sick and you don't have anybody to take care of you, your kids end up being the ones to take care of you. And it's difficult to realize, I did put that on them. Because I don't want to put that on them. And so they still have a very hard time giving up that part of their life, like the dominant part of their life of taking care of me, even though I'm married now and I have a husband and things are good for me. It's just they have a very hard time giving it up. And they're doing it, but it's still a process. Because it's just us 3. They saw their dad before they left for Florida. They saw him one time. And they said what they had to say to him, and that was it. They want nothing more to do with it. They basically said their piece being adults. It's come down to the point where they don't want anything to do with him because, he wasn't a part of their life at all. I mean, and what little part he was a part of, he always made sure that, if he went over to Joe and Sue's, that he got money first before he spent any time with them. That was his main goal of going over there. It wasn't to see them, it was to get cash. And so he's just never been a part of their lives, and he doesn't understand why, they don't care, that they call somebody else their father.
Parents today appear to me to be somewhat frightened about the whole prospect. They are challenged by the times in which we live, the issues at hand, and some of them look at parenting as a frightening responsibility. And it is, to some degree, a serious and challenging task. It is really difficult because there are such heavy pressures from the society around us and heavier pressures from the nature of children within them. And until we understand that, we're not going to understand what parenting is really all about.
Quincy is a typical American city on the banks of the Mississippi. Here lives a dropout, Alfred Barnard, age 18. Al is not a typical dropout. No one is typical. But some of his reasons may be, and the unreasoning resentment that made him do what he did.
Well, what was it in school that made you mad at everything?
Well, I was doing pretty good in the 10th grade, and then I skipped school for a week one time, and I got a few lectures on it in front of the class, and that kind of made me a little angry, so that kind of built up in me, and I just quit.
But, I mean, Cole, Christopher, that boy's been so angry since probably about 9-10 years old. Yeah, I mean, angry at everything, from the fact that he lived in the chaos at Joe's house, and, that he wasn't with me, and that his dad was this, and his dad was that, and I was away, and this, that, and the other, and...
Thanks.
I don't think I like that very much.
That's
not meant to be on me.
And who's that?
It's not meant to be on me. It's just supposed to be close by. Here it goes.
Who's that?
Jojo.
And come here.
Who's in the doorway?
Oh,
that was cute.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's Susan. And that's Dan. That's Dan. That's Jojo. That's Susan.
And this would be who?
That's Jakey.
Anyway, my mom does not want to talk about Joe and Sue because Joe did everything in her power to make it so that my mother could not get us back into her custody, and this went on from the time that my mom ended the relationship with my biological father. I mean, I'm not gonna name too many names here, but my father, Ronnie, he's done every drug there was, and Joe and Sue, and he was also a major alcoholic, and Joe and Sue never wanted him around, especially Joe, because she didn't like him, because every time he came around, he'd either want something from him, or he would try to, get something out of us, like my mom always told me that, because when we were living with Joe and Sue, we did go visit our mom. We did. She just doesn't want to talk about him because of what happened with Joe's fight against my mom to get our custody. And sure enough, my mom won, but that's because she's a fucking warrior. And I don't care who judges my mom, they're wrong about her if they say anything bad. Mom also doesn't like talking about Joe and Sue because when I'm sorry I moved my leg. I have ADHD. When we were tiny tots, no, it was
Tater tots.
No, tiny tots, not tater tots. Fat ass.
Shut
Joe, she was super highly religious. We would be forced to pray during dinner, or, be forced to go to church during school because we were in a Catholic school called. And we went there. I was in that school from first grade to fourth grade. He was there from first grade to second grade because when you were in kindergarten, you were held back. So I was 2 grades ahead of you, and then I got held back. Now, I'm gonna try to keep it about Joe and Sue here because that's what the question was. But if I get off topic, let me know here, because
You're allowed to go off topic.
I'm allowed to go off topic because I'm on a little bit of a bipolar high again. I'm extremely bipolar. I'll talk about 3 things at once.
How much is it genetics? How much is it that if you were raised by a depressed parent, you may well become depressed yourself? Both seem to play a role. Depressed mothers, let's say, aren't often able to give the same kind of nurturing to children that non-depressed mothers can give, and that probably leaves a child more vulnerable to depression than otherwise.
Susan,
Yeah.
look up and say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Here we are. It's Sunday morning, a crisp October morning, and everybody but me is not dressed. Jake. I don't know what to tell you.
No,
What
Jake.
happens
Jake.
sometimes on
Jake.
Sunday mornings.
Jake is dressed.
Oh, Jake is dressed. There you go. They're so little and short, I don't remember to look at them sometimes. And there's your Auntie JoJo looking at the paper. I don't think she's looking in the want ads, but you never know. If she doesn't look for herself, she looks for Heidi.
Oh, that's very nice.
You know Heidi, mother of 2 children, absent without leave.
Right.
All right.
My thoughts on Joe and Sue. I love my aunt, and I love my aunt dearly, and I love Sue. But I made my peace with that a long time ago. 1, I had to fight Joe because she never thought I was good enough after I had to give him up. So I had to fight her. And when I fought her, she didn't like it. So I had to fight to get the kids back. I didn't want to have to do that to her, but I did. And it took me taking her to court to see that she was too sick to take care of them. Even though everybody told her she was and that they needed to come back to me, she didn't want to do it. Stipulation after stipulation. And I have a lot of guilt for leaving them with her, because I feel like part of the reason why they are, especially Cole, is the way he is because of that. I have a lot of guilt for it. I don't like to think about it. And as far as Susan, the fact that I was accused of being abusive towards her because of other family members on her side, I made my peace with her not being in my life anymore after 30 some odd years before she even passed away. And so I just let it go. I don't talk about it much anymore because to me, they were a part of their life. They had some good things to give the boys, and a lot of things I feel like it was one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, and I should have just ran with the kids and got away, but I was not stable enough after the abuse I took to take care of them. So I did what I did, and it's shaped their lives, and we deal with it. I deal with it every day. So, and that's just how things are. I'm just kind of like my mom. I just keep going and going and going until I can't go no more. I get it from her. It's what I learned. You have to. She was a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
She raised us right. So.
It was 3 kids.
3 kids. Raised us all by herself because the men in her life didn't stay around either. So. It happens. So what else you got for me?
What is mental illness?
That's something I've been grappling with for the last 14 years. I don't have the answer to it. I consider myself a student of that matter, and I don't know the answer. Generally speaking, I see mental illness as being unable, not unwilling, but unable to cope with our society.
What is mental illness? I don't know. It covers everything from people who feel slightly badly getting up in the morning one day to people who have very serious suicidal depression or who are so disorganized by psychosis that they can't function at all. So it covers a wide range of terms and conditions.
So what are you doing now? You're moving from your 1 or 2 bedroom apartment that you had Cole and Jake in to Matt's mom's house. Is that right?
Yeah, Matt in his parents' house. They have a full basement that is an apartment.
Okay, right. The mother-in-law apartment.
Yes, right. So we're just basically going to pay rent and live down there, and it's only going to be $500 rent for everything.
Well, I know the kids leaving is a big deal for you, so I wanted to touch base and just see what that was all about. See what you're doing.
Christopher, it's mostly just like what Mom did for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have too much talent in their bones to be stuck in this hellhole. But the thing is Chris, they thrived in Portland. You know, they were constantly gone. They always had something to do. You know, Cole's music went way out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. He was just dying here. You know, his talent was going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he can write songs and sing them, and you know, he's got a voice that's like gold, and you know, I mean, he's got a voice that it will take him places because he's multi-versatile. You know, he can sing anything from country to Linkin Park to Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch, and you know, and then he can go back to country like Luke Bryan or somebody like that, or whatever the case may be. But you know, Skillet, you know, things like that. You know, he's just very, very talented. You know, we were in choir forever.
What's Jake gonna do?
Well, that boy wants to be a chef.
Jake.
Yes.
Okay. So it's safe to let him play with knives?
Yeah. He actually was in a program up in Maine called the PATHS program, PATHS.
Mm-hmm.
He went to school half a day, and the other half of the day, he worked in a kitchen at a different school for kids that were like in special for art and things like that. And he worked in the kitchen, and he actually got certified safety, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
He loves it. He is absolutely 100% positive, the only one I know that can take a box of Hamburger Helper and make it taste like it never came out of a box.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everybody. We are literally at Port Williams in Cape Elizabeth. Here are the boys taking pictures. Say hi, guys. Here is a lighthouse. Beautiful lighthouse, everybody. And here is the ocean. We will be walking up to it very soon.
Why don't you guys tell me about why you moved to? Why did you move out of Quincy and to Portland, and then why did you move back?
Do you want to tell why we? Okay, you tell why we moved there, and I'll say why we moved back.
No, I'll tell why we moved back.
Okay, then I'll tell why we moved there.
No.
No, you're gonna tell one or I'm gonna tell one.
No.
That's how it's gonna work.
Okay, so basically,
Tell why we moved there.
I met someone online, and I got to know them very well. The relationship was going well, and I decided to move the children and I to be with that person. And things were going well. I had a lot of health problems up there, unfortunately, which didn't bode well for the relationship. I think it was stressful. It was a great place as far as getting health care. It was a great place as far as having things for the children to do and the schooling up there, I believe. But in the end, the relationship did not work out, and I moved back within 3-hour notice and started over from scratch again, back home to where I knew I could make it and survive on my own with 2 children. And it was just a bad situation. And I made a mistake. And the funny thing is you make a mistake, and in the end, I came back, and 4 months later, I found my best friend. I found my husband, the father of the baby that's due in November, and the one that has been more of a father to these 2 boys than their biological father ever has been in their entire lifetime.
He's always been there for us. He provides for us, takes care of us, everything he can do to help us out.
He's always done that.
My name is Matthew. I'm Heidi's husband. Happy to be here today, and happy to be in a happy marriage. One I always thought I'd never have.
That, and he's going to be a first time. I mean, this is his first blood.
My first blood kid, but I still think of Cole and Jake as my real sons.
So he's nervous. He's very nervous about having a baby. But the grandma and grandpa are so excited. And that was while I was here taking care of your mom, basically.
When she had colon cancer.
Yeah, I moved in, take care of her.
You helped out a lot with that.
We just moved the family in so I could take care of her 24/7.
We all helped each other out.
So, and just kind of stuck from there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
He got stuck with me.
You got stuck with me?
Yeah.
We got stuck together.
Yep. And then got married.
Got married.
December 9th. Mm-hmm. And less than 2 months, I was pregnant. So, I mean, I just never thought I'd have that. I also never thought I'd have another child either until him.
Never thought I was going to have a child until... Yeah. I mean, I knew I had kids that I could love and know and take care of.
Yep.
But I just never thought...
Now you got a little girl on the way.
It was going to happen.
Yep. So...
When in doubt, baby out.
Oh, it's good Lord, Cole. See, this
is...
He is a social butterfly.
Like, my mom raised me to be a gentleman. She raised me to make the right decisions when it comes to the fork in the road. If anybody understands that reference, I really hope you do. She was mother and father for 18 years, sorry to say, until I met my, stepfather, but father, I'm just gonna say father, because what the hell's a stepfather, that's like saying, oh yeah, this is my wife's kid. It's not the same, it's not.
No,
it doesn't have a good ring to it. I might as well just call him my father because
he is your dad. Because
he is.
That's you guys call him dad. He is your dad. So, he's raising you. I mean, you guys are raised, but he is your father. Your father was never around.
He treats us like
But I mean, in the end, though, I mean, we all came back here and we're better off for it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're better off. I mean, yeah, we went to Portland. We had some good times. We had some. I
will be right back.
Yep, that's no problem.
Sorry, taking a leave of absence real quick because I'm a smoker like a jackass.
I just feel that I just had to take that fork in the road, that turn in the road, to make the decisions that I've made now. I mean, they got some good schooling. Jake had an excellent program that he went to. He liked to be a cook or a chef.
I will actually return.
You're returning now too? Where are you going?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
It's all right because it's called cut paste.
Take your time.
Yep.
I will. You're fine.
So, well, if they're gonna smoke, man, maybe I should
smoke too?
Yeah, I might get it out of the way. You want to bring your camera out? You can. I don't care.
I will.
Okay. And if you want to ask questions, it's cool.
Now, I think the general reasoning there has been that if a person is psychotic to the point that they are misinterpreting reality, that then the individual is not really able to make an informed judgment. Now, this applies not only to treatment, this applies to making a will, making a contract, getting married, giving testimony, participating in your own defense. So I think that is the instance in which it may be reasonable to insist that the treatment be carried out.
Diagnosing the problem is more complicated in the very young, who may not be able to express their depression. And they may not look sad. Instead, they may be irritable or angry or have nightmares.
Happy 4th of July. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And hey, this is Jake. Have you met Jake, Chris? This is the best guy in the whole world. Well, sometimes he isn't the best, but right now he wants to eat his hand. His tooth, he's getting more teeth.
Talk to Chris.
Why, he's a little bit upset. Don't go by the fire, honey.
He won't.
What about Jake? Does he have anything like that?
Nothing like an emotional disorder or anything. He has a cognitive learning disorder, which is very difficult for him to learn things. That's why he's on disability, because of his ADD and his cognitive learning. It creates a social disorder to where he'll say things and he doesn't realize that they're rude or they are inappropriate. And unfortunately, that causes issues with friendships and things of that nature. He doesn't quite understand that you can't say certain things, or that certain things aren't acceptable to say. Like, I mean, he would use the N-word and not even think twice about it. You know, and for a long time, you know, I would get shit for it. And I would be like, Jake, you can't say this.
He gets all these off of some stupid website. I don't know.
What do you call a Russian nigger? Nigor.
I told you that one.
I'm not even racist.
They get these all offline.
It was right around the age of 11, a friend of mine said, you know, it sounds like he's got some kind of Asperger's syndrome or whatever. And I started going about it and looking around, and she would ask me about his learning and everything, and I'd be like, you know, it would take him this long to, like, an example, when I first started teaching him how to cook little things, it took me 13 times to teach him how to make macaroni and cheese. You know, and because step-by-step directions are very, very hard for him. He still does not understand the meaning of, like, a checkbook or the meaning of tax when it comes to shopping. He may say he has $20 and he can afford it, but he doesn't realize that there's tax on that and that he can't. It's got to be less than, like, $18 before he can afford it with a $20 bill.
Go, Cole.
Go, Cole. I gotta go back. I'll go.
Social butterfly, go.
We found my cigarettes. What the hell?
Have one of mine.
No.
Alright, just be careful walking in. Alright, we're going.
I swear, they don't know when to stop.
What do you want to tell me?
Just during my childhood, I had bad times, I had good times, I had fun times, I had amazing times. My childhood, I grew up in Jones Zoo because mom couldn't take care of us. So that's pretty much about it. And just I enjoy life.
You think Jake is gonna basically live with you for his adult life?
For a good part of it, yeah. I think I have a feeling. I mean, I firmly believe that he wants his own place, don't get me wrong. But he's definitely not ready for that I will always have to be responsible for paying his bills. I think I will always have to be responsible for making sure he goes to medical appointments or anything like that.
Do you want to be a rapper?
Yes, I do.
Well, what else do you have a passion for? What is it that what is it that you want to do, that you love to do up in the kitchen?
He just gave it away.
But you went to a school in Maine that also taught you how to do a lot.
I went to culinary school in Maine called a PASS program, or however the hell you pronounce it. Mostly, I had a great boss, Mr. Davinsky. He was wonderful, polite. He gave me jobs that needed to be done, and I got right to it.
Why did you not finish? Because you moved?
I couldn't finish because I had to quit because we moved back here. Because my mom and her ex-husband, her ex-boyfriend, Mike, threatened her life to beat her up. So we came back here. We lived in Memphis, Missouri for about 2 weeks. Then just ignore that.
I just started senior year of high school. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. How's it going?
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
You gonna make it? You gonna make it through?
I'm working on some homework right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Glasses. Show him this is what he's supposed to wear his glasses every day.
Right.
There you go. So, he's pretty straight edge. He doesn't do marijuana.
I am as straight as they get.
Yeah, he doesn't do marijuana. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't like it. Every now and then he likes to taste what I'm drinking if I have a beer. But he doesn't want to smoke. He doesn't want to do drugs, but he'll want a taste of something. Like, what's that taste like? And I'll let him taste it. But otherwise, he doesn't really care to.
One time I had my first taste of a Bloody Mary. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah, like we tried, like when I had a Bloody Mary once, he tried that, little things like that. But he doesn't want to drink it. So it's, he's very, very straight-laced. He's definitely the total opposite of his brother.
There he is. I see that boy. You can't miss him. He took off his. There he is. There he is. Here he comes. He's getting ready to turn. He took off the dress shirt. Jackie! Jacko! That's my son! Jacko! Jacko! Jacko!
Here he goes. Isaiah Jacob Dillinger.
Jacko! Jacko! Get him!
Cody Ray.
Woo, Jacko!
James Dirk.
How you doing, big boy?
Austin Sam Dirk.
Jacko!
Noah Eugene.
Yeah, I see you.
Jacob Dylan Eldridge.
Did they go away just to have some place to live, or what?
No, actually, Jamie, who I showed the picture of, she is actually Ronnie's daughter. From a relationship that Ronnie had, she's my age, and it's a relationship that Ronnie had back when he was a teenager. And he had it with a lady named Carla. Mm-hmm. And I guess Carla did not want the child because she was a teenager, so she gave Jamie up for adoption.
I am Ronnie's, which is Cole and Jake's father. I am also his daughter. And he was like 16, 17 years old when I was born. And I was put up for adoption. Ronnie would prostitute girls out for drugs. But then he would also sleep with them. So that's how I came about, apparently.
And it was roughly 9 years ago that Carla said, "Do you realize you have 2 brothers out there?"
And I found out from my biological mother that I had 2 brothers.
And she's just been there ever since.
And then I went to Florida with him, my brother. You can see him right here. Where
did you go to Florida to?
I went to Florida with Jake to be with my actual biological sister, half biological sister, Jamie. She's my biological father's daughter, but Lord, is she just like him? She carries out the trait just like me.
Cole and I are a lot alike, and in many, many ways, we both deal with addiction from our biological father, and so it was hard, but it was also really cool to see the similarities that we had. And from what Cole has told me is both him and I are very much like Ronnie in a lot of ways. Our forehead and everything, I guess.
And then, when I went down there,
you realized you had a problem?
I realized I had a problem because it opened my eyes, because when I went down there, I came off of everything that I was on, everything that I had stolen from her, without even knowing that I stole it, because, as I mentioned, the split personality, it turns out one of my personalities was an addict. And they were addicted to hydrocodone, which is a high-class narcotic.
But he tested, whenever he got here, and they did the drug test on him to see what he was positive for benzos, he was positive for meth, and he was positive for the marijuana, of course. I don't remember if he was positive for the opiates or not, but I know those 3 he was. Cole was going through quite a bit of stuff, and Heidi and I were talking about a lot of the stuff that he was going through, and it was a lot of stuff that was, stuff that I've gone through. At the time, I had 5 years clean at one point, and then I relapsed a couple of times, and now I have 20 months. But Cole was, switching a lot in his multiple personalities, and like Heidi was telling him, to take before he got here, was saying, you need to get off all this stuff, and you need to get all of the medications controlled. And we were going to try to take him to, somewhere here to have that happen. So I was like, bring him down here. But I had no idea, that Jake was going to come and live. It was a mess. I knew that he was going to come down here, but I didn't think he was going to come down here to live. So I had to put out a lot of my own personal money, and even paid for Cole to go to a halfway house. He let him stay for both managers of the 2 halfway houses that he was in, let him stay for quite a while, because it was me and my relationship that I have with them. But I ended up paying rent for the second one for him. And then all the time that when he was at JC's, which is the first halfway, he was calling Heidi freaking out because they weren't going to let him have his benzos. And then yet they knew that he couldn't take his benzos anymore. He would have to have a non-addictive benzo, you know, like Boost Bar or something. And it didn't, none of that happened. And like everything, and a big part of the problem too was everything that I was trying to do with them, like as far as trying to help them get their lives together, Heidi would go against me and would tell Cole something completely the opposite. And like, you need to do what you want to do, basically. And so it was like all like this, like all the time.
And, you know, do people have a right to be crazy?
All right, do people have a right to be crazy?
Well, I suppose people have a right to be crazy as long as they can function. Do they have a right to be hospitalized at the expense of other citizens when they could be gotten better if they took drugs? I don't know the answer, really.
Cole, on the other hand, I thought he was really going to try to make a go of it and everything. And it ended up that, you know, in all honesty, if it wasn't his way, it was the highway, and he didn't like it.
Mm-hmm. So he went through, did he go through rehab? Is that correct? Or
he was supposed to go down to Florida to live with Jamie, detox, kind of go to rehab a little bit, you know. And then in the last week, you know, he was not, I guess, they wanted to move him to closer to being near the person that runs the establishment in the house. And there's like a ton of houses on this property. And they wanted to move him to that area. Well, because it had a surveillance camera in front for deliveries and stuff, he thought it had surveillance everywhere. So he got paranoid. And, you know, and apparently when Stephen, which is his cousin on his dad's side, got a hold of him, that's when things really took a turn for the worse, because his head got bigger than anything under the sun. He got this ego that the Dillinger name was the end-all be-all, and that nobody could stop him, and that it was, he was never ever going to be he was always going to be invincible. And I was just like, you're full of shit. You know, I said that name is synonymous with crap in this town.
What's the meaning of the term psychosis?
Well, we tend to differentiate the psychosis from the more minor forms of mental disorder, which generally are called psychoneuroses. The psychotic patient shows a much more all-embracing disorder. This may involve his capacity to think clearly, he may become confused, his capacity to differentiate between the reality of the world around him and the delusions or fantasies that may be occupying his mind becomes quite defective.
What causes a psychosis?
Well, a psychosis is caused, on the one hand, probably by factors which are inherited from the parents, genetic factors, some kind of a predisposition to become sick in this particular way. And when you combine that with experiences, emotionally stressful experiences to which the patient is exposed, the two together seem to combine to produce an illness which is of major proportions, which we call a psychosis.
And Cole was stealing hydrocodone?
Yeah, after I found out that, you know, he had multiple personality disorder.
How did you find that? First of all, how did you find that out?
Well, there were signs of it in Maine, of one of his personalities coming out named Raphael, because some of his friends would say, "Who's Raphael?" And he would ask me, "Mom, have you ever met this person? I don't understand why I'm calling myself that." And he would lose spurts of time. And I thought, and then we went to a doctor, and he said that it's dissociative disorder, and you're dissociating yourself. And if you only got one, it's probably just you dissociating yourself, and it's from all the stress. So, and then of course we had to move back here, so that never continued. And I guess more personalities started to appear.
I was never officially diagnosed with it, but 98.9% chance that I have a disorder called dissociative identity disorder, but most people now don't know it as that. They know it as multiple personality. It hasn't happened in a long time, and I hope to God it doesn't. I don't wish it upon my worst enemy.
And Cole he switched it was like either the first or second day. We were at lunch and he switched at the restaurant. And I don't want to say that it was like freaking me out or anything like that, because it wasn't. That time. It was a Southern lady, very nice, like protective type of personality.
I realized that Cole did $400 worth of damage to this place, when he flipped out. And I paid you Cole.
Oh, he smashed the apartment?
Oh, yeah. When he had one of his altar moments, he broke a screen door, punched a couple holes in walls.
A different personality.
Yeah, definitely. The personality was Bane, and he's very vile. Very vile. He does not like me at all.
Okay.
He blames me for a lot.
How many does he have?
And then, he's got 4 that I know of. There's Raphael, who's the main one. There's Bane, who's the very nasty one. There's Scarlet, she's the one that steals all my hydrocodone. And then there's Rosemary, who's shy.
Raphael is very calm. Very assertive calm, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one that basically just will stand there and be like, mm-hmm. Very assertive yet calm demeanor. Bane is just as hateful as can be and will spew the vile nastiness out of his mouth that can possibly come, along with the abuse.
When he got here, we went to lunch and he switched into the Southern lady that he has. But then when we were driving one day, and I don't know if this was a switch or not, it might have been. He was extreme. Like, I was scared because we were getting into it. This was like towards the end. And then he's calling Heidi like my sister's a bitch, and his eyes, and he just looked so different. He looked just like evil, and I really thought he was gonna hit me. I really, really thought. And I was driving, and I pulled up on the side of 95. I'm like, get out of my car. I'm like, I don't care what you do, get out of my car.
When I kicked Cole out and put the order of protection on him after hitting me, we were cleaning the house and I found his stash of crushed up hydrocodone, and I was like, well, now I know. And it took him a good 2 weeks to finally admit to it.
So he didn't even realize he was an addict.
Cole didn't realize he was an addict.
Yeah, he didn't know.
Okay.
Because he really did not know. It was very interesting because when I kicked him out, we moved a bunch of furniture around, and I opened up the coffee table little drawers, and I found a stash.
And Scarlett's the one that I kept wondering why I was always short. Why I would end up short every month on my pills, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, I know nobody else is taking them. I know I'm taking them the right way. Who am I letting in my house stealing my medication? And then his alter came out to me and said that she was doing it. She actually appeared and told me that she was the one. She said it was very easy. She said, especially when you didn't have a lockbox and you would leave your pills, sitting by your table. She said once you got your lockbox, it was a little harder. She said I would still be able to get to them. And I was like...
And I found out I had a problem after I started becoming very sick, and soon found out that sickness was actually withdrawal, and it scared me to death. I had heart palpitations, I had mini seizures, I got sick a couple times, paleness, sweating, trembling, nightmares, confusion, as well as a sense of impending doom. And I promise you, once you go down that line, it is really hard to cross back over to the light side. You know, once you cross into the darkness, you get stuck for a while.
I had to put an order of protection on him to make sure he knew I was serious.
Is that why? Is that why they're gone now, or what?
No. Basically, what had happened was Bane basically came out and hit me, threatened to kill me, threatened to kill Maddie, threatened to kill Jake. It was pretty bad. Threw the lamp at me, you know. I mean, it was kind of like I was living with Ronnie all over again.
So I didn't let him off on the side of 95, and then we came back here and got his stuff, and I dropped him off at BOC, which is the Broward Outreach Center. And I was like, I don't care how you get to the airport, they will take you. They have buses, they have transportation to go to the airport. It's a homeless shelter. So I'm like, you can stay there tonight because I'm done. I'm just done.
Of course, on top of that, Jake was terrified. You know, because at one point Cole turned around and said, if you don't shut up, you little shit, I'm going to show you what it's all about and I'm going to kill you too. And I just was like...
Has Cole ever hurt anyone?
No. Just me. Just me.
But she went back to Portland.
But after that, I went back to Portland, and then I went back there sober. I was completely clean. I went back to Portland as sober as can be. I had not one drug in my system. No alcohol, no pot, no hydrocodone, no meth, no crack, no nothing. Because, you know, I mean, I'm not going to give out the information about my sister and how she was, because that's her business. It's not mine. But
you were homeless, though.
I knew when I went up there, I was homeless, and I knew that I was going to be homeless going up there. But I lied to my mom right here, said I wasn't, because I knew that if I told her I was going to be going up there homeless, she would tell me, "Don't go up there. Don't go against my wishes." But I told her I would have a place, so she said, "You have my blessing." And I went up there, and
However, Colin, did it teach you a big lesson?
Taught me a very big lesson, because, you know, after having a knife to my throat and being beaten senseless by by certain people that I didn't want to be a part of. And
you came home?
I ran. It opened my eyes, because the reason I had that knife held in my throat was because at that time I was selling pills, weed, and all that shit. And, you know, just because I didn't get the business right, I got beat and I had a knife held in my throat. So, you know, just don't, like, it's that's basically the lesson I'm trying to say. Just do not.
But who was here? Who was here? Who did you come home to?
Yeah.
And have we gotten you better?
Yeah, we've gotten.
And you're now in therapy. You now have a psychiatrist.
I have a psychiatrist.
The right medication.
Yes, I do. Obviously, before I'm even asked, I'm on 7 different, I'm not going to call them antipsychotics, I'll just call them psychiatric medication, one of which is considered a tranquilizer. It's called Valium, but the brand name is diazepam.
You're also on
And I'm also on Seroquel, which is a huge antipsychotic. I'm on gabapentin, Vistaril, Trazodone, affects her. And I'm on amoxicillin because I have an infection in my mouth. That's not mental, it's just physical.
What I tell people is, if you look like me and you hop out of your truck, you shouldn't be getting a disability check. Over half the people on disability are either anxious or their back hurts. Join the club. Who doesn't get up a little anxious for work every day and their back hurts? Everybody over 40 has a back pain. And I'm not saying there aren't legitimately people who are disabled, but the people who are the malingerers are the ones taking the money away from the people who are paraplegic, quadriplegic. We all know people who are horrifically disabled and can't work. But if you have able-bodied people taking the money, then there's not enough money left for the people who are truly disabled.
You went on disability. You've been on disability since you were 18, right?
22.
Okay. Is that
22.
when you had your first injuries?
No, that was for mental. All mental. I had 27 jobs from the age of 17 to 22. And some of those jobs were my disability screwing it up. Some of those jobs were my marriage screwing it up. My relationship with the boys' father, because I could not show my face in public.
And what are you on?
I'm on disability. I'm on disability and Social Security.
Is it SSI?
It's SSDI, Social Security Disability.
Right.
And then I'm on Social Security. I get 2 checks.
And public aid is to help with food?
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. They don't help very much. I right now, between me and Jake, I make way too much money. But the thing is, and I don't add Maddie in. I keep him separate for reasons that
You don't add what in?
I keep Maddie separate off my public aid, even though we're living together.
Oh, yeah. Because you get more, right?
Huh?
You get more that way?
Yeah, that counts as income, and I don't want them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't make enough anyway. I mean, right now he's working at Arby's, and he hates it. He's actually trying to get on at Titan Wheel with his cousin.
So explain a little bit about how your aid works, how your money situation works, because you explained it to me once, but I don't get it.
Well, okay, so because of my mental disorder, I am on disability, but because I did work for a while, I get Social Security as well. So I get 2 checks.
Because Jake is 18 or he's under 21, he still gets his public aid money? Is that
He still gets disability, but the thing is right now we're waiting to see if, as an adult, he qualifies.
Which is now because he's 18.
Right. However, he still gets his disability until they decide that. But if I decide to appeal, he still gets it for another 6 months.
So, and then of course, because he's 18 and still in school, we had to reevaluate his disability. But because he's still in school, it's a little bit more difficult of a process, so it takes a little bit longer.
What is his cognitive disorder? How does that coming out now that he's...
Well, the ADD has kind of left. Okay, he was ADHD for a very long time, hyperactive. He has some ADD, not a whole lot. But his cognitive disorder tends to hinder his understanding of how to read directions, how to handle money.
And then if they deny him, all I do is appeal. But because he's still in school, he's still considered under the Child Act, I guess. And he has to stay a full-time student. and everything until he graduates, and then it'll change again, and they'll reevaluate it from what I'm understanding. And they're more strict with adult disabilities than they are children. And so I made sure that, you know, when they ask you, can you do this, can you do that, what, you know, as his payee, I guess you would say, even though I'm his mother, you know, I would tell him, yeah, he can bathe and take care of himself, but you couldn't give him a checkbook if you tried. And he would not understand it at all. And no matter how, it would take forever to teach him how to pay a bill. There's no wedding plans in the making other than, you know, me and Matthew have agreed that we're engaged. You know, we've no proposals or anything are there, but, you know, we just know that that's what we want, you know, but we also know that, you know, getting married is probably not going to happen because, you know, sadly, disability looks at what your spouse makes and can rip your check away, and it's really difficult. So it's hard for me to want to get married again and know that half my check could go bye-bye, you know, just because of his income. And it sucks. Now that I'm married and my husband works, I don't get as much as I used to because they count his income. So they count our income as one. But because of my income, especially when I just had the kids, I got, a lot of times I would get cash assistance and food stamps. I still get food stamps because even though my husband works, we still don't make enough money. And then, I mean, it's just basically, you know, you go in there, you fill out the paperwork, and if you're deemed disabled, you get it. It's just, like with Jake, he gets full disability because he's never worked. With me, because I worked, I get 2 checks. And that's because I made not enough in Social Security to get full Social Security, but not enough, but enough to get partial Social Security and partial disability. So it's kind of complicated, but it's just weird. And it's not exactly a luxury kind of thing, you know. Sitting on your butt, not even making $1,000 a month kind of sucks. Mm. It's very difficult. You know, especially when you don't have other people, like, you know, a husband or whatever that works or whatnot. It's hard to pay bills. It's hard to find a place that you can live in and still pay bills and still have money for any kind of little things or. So I mean, I struggled like every year when I was raising the kids to even have Christmas, but I did it because I would pinch back, you know, and sock back money throughout the year just to do it. Or I'd go to charities that help out sometimes, you know. I mean, I lowered myself and bit my pride to make sure that they would have everything they wanted. Yeah. I did what I had to do. That's how my mom taught me to do it. You do what you got to do to raise your kids. And I sacrificed a lot of what I wanted to make sure they had what they wanted. Oh, man. It's pretty simple.
Thorazine, the first of the major tranquilizers, was given to several million patients within months of its introduction. Since then, dozens of others have come on the market. There are now drugs for almost every condition, drugs to tranquilize, even out extreme highs and lows, and drugs to lift you from your depression. Physicians were bombarded with advertisements, brochures, and other sales devices. The drugs quickly became the preferred method of treatment, but they cure nothing.
What they do is ameliorate the symptoms of the illness and hopefully, and even theoretically, restore a biochemical balance in the central nervous system. Now, in that sense, it's something like a diabetic that receives insulin. You can say, well, I take my insulin every day and my diabetes is in control. But if you ask me, am I cured of diabetes, I would have to say no.
You're having problems, you're having like chronic pain, and I don't really know about the whole chronic pain issue thing. Can you tell me about that?
Okay, well, a while back, like, oh God, the kids were like 11 and 12. We went skating at Scotty's. It was like a year after I had gastric bypass. So I lost about a little over 100 pounds, and I decided to go skating with the kids. And it started by me falling and hitting a kid's zipper, and I landed on my kneecap. And then one day I was walking, I was in an apartment that I was living in Quincy, and my knee gave out on me on the stairs, and I went down a flight of stairs, about 7 to 9 steps, and each part of the step, the little lip of the step, I hit with the bottom of my back, like right where the tailbone is. And as of 2 weeks ago, I got fired from my doctor because I missed an appointment because I was coughing so hard from my asthma attack that I had passed out finally, and I didn't hear my alarm. So she fired me, and I went to another doctor, and because of the knee issue way back in the day, I got the no narcotics thing at this other place that I went to where I'm not to be prescribed anything. And so they're ripping me off. Progressively over the last 6 years, I have a disc crushing out. I have another parts defect, they believe, in the L4. They can't quite trigger point that one yet. It's not showing as much as the one in the L5 for sure is totally making everything from the L4, L3, L2, and L1 degrade. I'm discouraged because they look at me like I'm a drug seeker and a drug addict and a doctor shopper, and I'm none of those things. If anything, I'm busting my butt to go through their hoops just to get to a paying doctor that will take care of me. And I had a really good one up in Maine, and unfortunately, things didn't work out up there, so I left. And on top of that, I'm still too heavy to have surgery. I have to be at 172 pounds. They got me referred to a pain management dude in Hannibal who does pain pumps and all kinds of stuff, so I don't want to pop a pill the rest of my life. I don't want to be, on narcotics the rest of my life. I'd rather have something different. And I've told doctors that I'm willing to do all kinds of alternative medicine. I've been willing to do medical marijuana. I did that up in Maine for quite a while. It worked fine. Not that I want to be stoned all the time, but and then the nurse, she said that stuff to me, and I said, look, lady, I said, what happened 10 years ago has nothing to do with who I am today. I think I'm a doctor shopper and a drug seeker. I said, but all I was trying to do was get the help that I was needing for my knee. And they still don't listen. They still think you're a doctor shopper. I mean, I honestly think if I was rich, like, all the stars and had all the money in the world, I'd get anything I wanted. But because I'm disabled on Medicare and Illinois public aid, like I said, if you're rich, you can get anything you want. Doesn't matter. But when you are where I'm at, and you have to go through loops and hoops and fight, in the system, nobody really wants to help you. They automatically just think you are what you are. They don't see in my record that I seriously am a chronic pain patient. I'm not faking it. I'm not making it up. It shows in my records that I have a broken back, and it does not matter. It does not make a difference. They're terrified of the fact that so many stars have overdosed, and then they wonder why so many people these days are going to, hillbilly heroin or going to heroin now, and it's because you're cutting people off of the people that really need it off their pain medication. You're cutting everybody off it everywhere you go. And they're going the only things that they know that will help. with the change of them taking me off of narcotics and everything, I did not want to falter and end up in a place where I didn't want to be. And that was in a mental unit or something like that. So I was like, you might want to give me something for depression because this is going to hit me pretty hard.
Then how do you pay for all the doctor stuff?
How do I pay for all the doctor stuff?
Mm-hmm.
My Medicare pays for it. My insurance.
Prescriptions and everything?
Yeah. Well, it took a good year for them to cover the hydrocodone because some doctor in Maine had said I didn't need any other kind of narcotic other than tramadol. So it took a year for doctors to contact my prescription drug company and say, no, she really does need this. So now they're actually paying me back money that they owe me from all the medicine, all the times that I paid for it. Because 180 pills, is a whopping $100 or so a month. Mm-hmm. So I got about $1,000 coming back to me.
How long did you take hydrocodone?
Let's see here. I got back into Quincy last year. I started seeing my doctor roughly. I finally got in August. So, a little less than, let's see here, August, a little over a year. Like maybe 14 months.
Every day?
Every day. At first I was on 5 milligrams, and then it got to the point where I was on 10 milligrams 5 times a day. And I hated it. Because there were times it didn't work. There were times it didn't work at all. And it was, it's just like stupid. They tried fentanyl strips on me, or patches, and it made my serotonin levels so high that it actually made me sick, so I couldn't do those. So that's why they upped it to 10 milligrams and upped it to 5 times a day. And it just, but as your body gets used to it, it just doesn't work. That's why I got tired. I don't want to be on pain medication all the time because it's progressively just going to get me to the point where I'm on the highest medication there is. I don't want to do that. I would rather have surgery. I would rather have a pain pump. I'd rather do the ablations I was doing in Maine where they burned the nerves in my back so that I didn't feel so much pain. And, I'd gladly do just about anything other than be on a pill. It's just, I just don't want to. Because a pill, it runs your life. Oh, well, I gotta take this, or if I don't take it, then I'm gonna pay for it later. And there would be times if I didn't take it, I would.
That sounds like Steve.
A little bit. But, Dad, he changed a lot. He changed a lot after Mom died.
He lost his meanness, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. He lost a lot of it. He went to God. He really did. He went to it and he stuck with it. He quit drinking. He quit smoking. He really pumped up his business, and he even started reading into the Jewish religion, because he didn't like Christianity too well either, and he was learning it, and he just lost all of his meanness. It was just gone. And so it was, I got to really know him a lot better, and that's why I miss him so much, because after Mom died, especially with the gastric bypass, we got very, very close.
See, I got close to my dad when I had gastric bypass. I got close to him, and I learned a lot of things when it came to my dad. I learned a lot of stuff. He stayed away for a reason, mostly because of Joe.
You know,
I had a lot of conversations with him in the truck back and forth when I was doing my gastric bypass. And he told me, he said, Heidi, I didn't want to stay away. I stayed away because I didn't want you to be in the middle between Mom, Joe, and me. And he said, I figured it would be better for you. He said, I realized now it wasn't. But and we got better, we got close, and when he died, it was just not something I wanted to deal with.
But at the same time, you know, he also did a lot for me. There's a lot of times he bailed me out of a lot of trouble. With bills or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can't begrudge him that. I mean, and then, you know, when I did do the gastric bypass, like I said, we got really close, and I learned to forgive him. And I realized that he was a totally different person than he was when he was with Mom. You know, a totally different person. He had learned, I guess he grew up, I don't know, or he felt like that just wasn't who he wanted to be anymore. So he changed for the better. And I was proud of him for that, so I forgave him and I had a good relationship with him. I realized that it wasn't very good for you or Deanne having him there, but in the end, he did change. In the end, he was definitely a different person, and I miss him a lot. Very much so. Well, it's very difficult because I'm an orphan. I don't have Mom or Dad. I have you. That's it. And it sucked because you're very far away. And nobody in the Hoffmeister family or Mom's other family want to talk to me. It's like they just ignore me. So I don't talk to them. I just let it go. I think that's why I kind of did what I did with you and kind of fought hard to get you back, because at 41, you know, only having one brother, I kind of wanted to get around. It sucked not having you around, and I'm really sorry for some of the things I did and whatever, and I didn't realize that sometimes it's what I did, but I'm glad you understood that I wasn't doing it because I wanted to. It was because I was stuck. I didn't know where to turn, so I'd turn, and I'm just glad you realize now that, you know, it's that I would rather hear you say, you know, why, you know, you couldn't, or why this or why that, and instead of just ignoring it. And I'm glad you understand that, because it helps. Because, you know, now maybe we can have the relationship we were supposed to have after Deanne and everybody died. Because we are really all we have.
Mental illness is a myth, a fraud, a bad metaphor, an excuse, a rationalization. It's a religious viewpoint held by psychiatrists which says that human troubles are somehow medical in origin and medical in their solution. Now, just how poverty, unemployment, unhappiness, fights between husbands and wives, beatings of children, anxiety, alienation, just how all these problems relate to medicine and relate to illness is never stated.
You guys were with Joe and Sue for a very, you know, for what, 6 years?
Yeah, we
because
were.
I had to give you guys up to get my life together because of an abusive marriage.
We were with her till I was about 8.
Right. You, from 2 to about 8 years old, you and Jake, well, Jake was younger.
And it's when my sickness phobia developed.
Right. You guys were with Joe and Sue because I was in a very, very abusive marriage, mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah, I know.
And I had to get myself together before I could bring you guys back home.
Yeah, I know. It's.
I had to get out of it. I had to get myself mentally capable of taking care of you because he beat me down to a point where I didn't care.
Yeah, that's because he was,
but he's
a pussy, all right?
But he's an alcoholic. He's sick.
No, I know how that feels. You know though, I know how that feels because I would draw. I
Turn
would
it
draw
around.
from.
Turn that around. It can't go on right that way.
Because I would draw from benzos on a daily basis, not because I'm an addict, because I'm fucking prescribed them.
It's just you have to, because your phobias with sickness, Cole, started with the fact that you live with Joe and Sue, and Joe and Sue were constantly sick. And no matter how much...
Sue had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma with chemo radiation therapy.
But the thing is Joe was constantly sick. And there was so much chaos in that house because of the sickness. You guys weren't raised the way you should have been.
I'm aware of this.
And so that's where yours comes from. You were born with your disorder. It's just a cognitive learning disorder that makes you... that socially... Yeah, 19. You're 19. Socially... in a lot of ways, mentally, you're 14 because there are things you say and do that you should not do in public, or you say things that you should not say in public, and that's why you cannot work, and you don't learn the right way. It takes you a very long time to be able to learn something, and so it's very difficult for you to get any kind of a job.
Well, I do want to get a job eventually.
I know you do, and I know you want to become a chef. But it's going to take you a lot more of a process to get to that point than any other person. It's like somebody with dyslexia. They have to learn how to deal with that disorder to push on through to get to what they want to do. And you can do that. It's just going to take you a process in time.
People with dyslexia are like you, but in a different way. They're...
And
I don't even know how to explain. All I know is that I have psychosis, possible schizophrenia, 98.9% chance of dissociative identity disorder, severe panic disorder, major depression disorder, and PTSD.
Right.
I'm on 7 different psychiatric medications for it all. You are bipolar. Mm-hmm. You have a cognitive learning disorder.
And you get some of that psychiatric stuff from me.
Yeah, I know. I get it straight from
you. It's just like your grandmother Kathy had nervous breakdowns. It runs in the family.
Yeah, I don't get it from my father. The fact that I like to drink on a daily basis is what I get from my father.
And the thing is you're learning that you have an addictive personality. That's what you've learned.
I already know I do.
But you also have lived in a household with a mother that's bipolar. And now you live in a household with a mother that has chronic pain.
And is also bipolar. And is pregnant with a broken back.
So I mean...
And I didn't fucking lie either.
And
you guys,
me, I'm just here to help around the house.
You guys deal with me every day, days where I can't do nothing, days where I can't get out of bed.
Yes, but Mom, when I deal with that, it's because I feel like I have no other choice, because if I don't, I'm not a son to you. That's just me being a prick. If I don't help you, I feel like I fail. When I lost my job, I thought I let you down more than anybody.
You let me down. Your mental health is
Maddie kept telling me everything's okay, but a ball in my eyes out, sitting there saying, I hope, I don't want to be homeless again. Like, don't throw me out. I don't have no more checks coming in. And Maddie was like, it's okay, but it's not my plan. I'm like, and I just like, even Scott was like, keep your head up, buddy. And I'm like,
but Cole, you don't take care of me because you think you're gonna be a prick. You take care of me because it's always been us 3 until about 2.5 years ago, and it's always been us that's taking care of each other, and you've always helped and taken care of me.
It's kind of been burned in my brain because my mind is like a steel trap. When I have thoughts of what's
Ash.
on me.
Ash.
I thought a bug was on me. I was about ready to be like, talking about all this is like build up. It's built up.
You guys don't talk about. You're talking about it now because you don't ever. You don't ever talk about it.
It's
we
hard.
always keep it inside. It
is hard.
It's hard because in all honesty, my brother's all we got left, and my side of the family.
It's bringing out those emotions that trigger that back of the head headache. That you know what I'm talking about, Mom.
Yeah, if he gets a back of the head headache, he's gonna have to walk away because it'll trigger a dissociative and he'll flip to a different personality.
You guys ready to go back in?
Yeah, I'll butt this out. We can go in.
Okay, because I'm dying out here.
Because I'm hot and I'm already sweating my butt off. We'll go back in. And then I'm gonna go to the restroom because I'm pregnant. And that's all we do when we're pregnant. Come on in, Christopher.
Oh my God, I feel so good here.
Y'all want to know our story? I'll tell you my story. I'm a pothead. I'm a slight addict. I know I am. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm 20 years old. 20 years old. It's because all the stress that I get put under, and it's because when I watch my mom suffer from her chronic pain, that makes me feel bad because I can't do it. I'm not Superman. I'm not a superhuman. I can't see what's wrong with her. I can't heal her. I'm not God. Never will be. I'm only human. We're all only human, and every human has some kind of problem. And you can't say you don't. I know every one of you watching, from angle to angle, whatever fucking camera's on me right now. Everyone that's going to be watching this, every single one of you know damn well that you all have one problem, at least one problem that you struggle with on a daily basis. But my mom always told me, because her mom always told her, if you can fill one hand with people you know that care about you, and people you know that aren't just bar friends, and people you know that will stay by your side, if you can fill one hand, as in count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you can fill one hand with people that actually truly care about you and that have never left your side, you're blessed. I can't even. Why? Because I don't count my family. They're my family. I'm talking about people outside of the family. If you can fill one hand with people outside of your family, outside of your family.
He's right. Mom always said that. You can fill one hand with people that care about you. They're your friends. You're blessed. Most people can't.
Most people are bar friends. You know what those people are? Those people are only around when you're there to get fucked up. What?
You're going on a bipolar high side.
I'm telling.
And I'm gonna stop you now. You're in a bipolar high. You need to take a walk.
I'm good.
Go chill. Go chill.
I know you don't want to talk. You heard about it, but if you want to say anything more about it.
Wait, did my mouth get too bitter?
Yes.
No, you're fine.
Well,
no, it's not that. It's not that. It's that I can tell you when you start going on. You don't.
All right. Okay.
You
I'm sorry. I'm on a bipolar high. I'm extremely bipolar, but hey, it's hereditary. I get it from her, so she has no room to talk.
About Joan Sue.
I said my piece about Joan Sue, but now it's up to Jake. If Jake wants to say his piece about Joan Sue, well, there is one thing.
Thank you.
You're good, man.
You need to go chill. I can see it now. You need to go chill out. Go smoke a cigarette and go chill.
Good. Thank you.
And let me tell you something. Understanding the total depravity of your children is the important, practical foundation of all parenting.
The drugs are medicine, but is mental illness a disease? Most psychiatrists think so, but many others don't.
In schizophrenia and the affective disorder, there is compelling evidence that defects in the mind, in the brain, do exist.
This is what being crazy looks like. Everything is fighting, is bright, is harsh. It hurts.
Once you legally allow someone to force a chemical like Thorazine or Prolixin into someone else's body, then you open up a Pandora's box of abuse.
All this psychological analysis stuff of all these criminals trying to figure out what somebody did to them misses the point. It's not what somebody did to them, it's what somebody didn't do to them.
People become depressed because their thinking is disordered around particular issues, around how they view themselves and how they view others.
Despite the uncertainties about whether madness is an organic disease or a reaction to the problems of living, psychiatrists feel they have to do something.
Living today is such a complex thing that to set out to control all the possible factors that can produce a breakdown is almost a hopeless task.
I got myself to the point where I was so numb that I wouldn't even back. I'd feel absolutely nothing for nothing at all. So it took 5 years of those to learn how to even shed a tear. And the other 5, you know,
Everything is fighting, is bright, is
without
harsh.
having a bunch of medication.
Hurts.
And I've done really well.
Safe at home. Angels watching over you. Listen to me, darling, as I sing to you. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Sleep, baby, sleep, closing your bright eye. Listen to me, darling, as I sing to you. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, sha